Hi everyone, I'm talking about UV resin today to help those who are interested or just starting out. I'll be adding a DIY tutorial in this video also, so if you don't need the additional info or want to skip to the DIY, then fast forward to the time on the screen. UV resin is such a cool, fun craft. I'm so excited to share it with you all. I really just want to start off with pointing out that this is a really easy, inexpensive craft, and once you get into it, you'll just fall in love because there's so much you can do with UV resin. So let's start with quickly discussing what you can actually do with UV resin. The first thing that you can use UV resin for is glue. UV resin is quite strong and can hold things together when it's cured. The second and most common type of use for UV resin is jewellery. People like to customize their jewellery and create charms, bezels and pendants. This is the same for creating keyrings. The fourth use for UV resin is to create water features for your projects. Now, I haven't seen anyone else use it for this purpose, but it's so useful to me and my projects, and one of my best tips and secrets on how to create artificial water like ponds and streams. Here are two examples of me using UV resin for water. So I made a Pokemon terrarium and made a little water feature using UV resin, and I also made a woodcraft using UV resin for the water feature and creating a beach. I have made tutorials for both of these DIY projects, so you can check them out later if you like. So the first two main things you're going to need for starting off is obviously a bottle of UV resin. Now UV resin is very cheap and you can find a bottle for just over $2 or just over £2. Now the next thing you're going to need is a UV torch. Now I did start off with a UV torch because it is really cheap. It's around $3 or £3, but the only thing with a UV torch is that you have to sit there holding the torch until it cures. That is around 2 to 3 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, depending on the cure time. I then went and bought a UV machine, which was in my opinion quite cheap as well. I did buy mine for just £12 and it lasts a very long time, and it's just made life so much more simple because now I just put my charms or whatever my UV resin project is under the UV light and just leave it and come back to it and it's all cured. If you're using UV resin for water projects, then you have everything you need. The only other thing is just mixing blue acrylic paint into your UV resin. Now you only need a drop of this. You can also make do with blue food dye by just adding a drop in your UV resin and mixing it in with a toothpick. If you want to make your own jewellery, then you're going to need bezels or moulds. You can then mix in things like glitter, paint, stones and jewels. It's a fun way to make personalised jewellery that also suits your taste. These are also really perfect for handmade gifts. And here are two examples of jewellery that I've made with UV resin. The heart one was made using a bezel and the second one was made using a seahorse mould. Both of these are on my channel if you want to know how I made them. The only difficult thing you might come across with using resin, whether it's UV resin or epoxy resin, is bubbles. The way to pop those annoying bubbles is to blow on them with a straw, or you can use fire or a toothpick to burst them. The cool thing about UV resin is that it dries clear and you can embed anything within it, so get creative. You can create miniature beaches in small charm jars, or maybe terrariums. You can create personalised name jewellery by immersing wooden lettering in your UV resin. You can even add photos of your loved ones and create special pendants. All in all, UV resin is quick to cure, cheap, fun and perfect for small crafts and projects. please do remember to wear gloves for safety when crafting with resin and have a great time. I made this video after a subscriber's request, so thank you very much, Andrea. I hope you found this video useful and helpful. If you guys have any other requests or questions, let me know and I'll definitely be happy to take them on board. If you're looking to use resin for bigger projects like pouring or covering surfaces, then you'll need to look into epoxy resin, and I'll make a video on that later. Now onto the bonus resin DIY.